already learned in primary 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've got to try to join them together so that in our minds we have a big picture of what it is that we are learning in English, right? And not little parts that don't seem connected to each other. Okay, so that's the purpose of today. I'm going to give you a broad map, like a big map that shows you how the different parts of English that we've learned so far fit together. Then I'm going to zoom in on particular areas that we've covered in term 1 as a review and a revision. That's why we recover and review the materials, not just in term 1, but also in primary 3 and primary 4. Before I begin, if anybody is not able to see either the PowerPoint slides or my face in the bottom of the picture, please let me know. All right, I'm right here. I should be at the bottom, okay? If you can't see either or you can't hear me, please send a shout out on the live chat panel and I will try to make whatever adjustments. But it seems as if you're able to. Everybody seems to be quite happy. All right, so at any point in the presentation, if you have a question, if you're not sure, or you have something that you would like to add, I may also pose questions that you can answer. Please send your replies via the live chat. And for those of you who are not able to watch the live chat with an account, you're only able to watch, but you can't comment, you may send me your messages via WhatsApp. And I can also review WhatsApp on my phone while I'm presenting at this video. So I'm looking at several things at the same time. I'm looking at the phone, I'm looking at my script, which is behind the monitor, and I'm looking at the monitor as I present to you the slides. So forgive me if I'm not able to immediately respond to you because I have like 3 different areas I have to focus on, and it can sometimes get quite intense. There are quite a lot of things going on at the same time, and I'm also monitoring the video and the live feed to make sure that there are no interruptions. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin today's review. Right? Everybody, hello. I can see that we have 18 viewers at the moment and more to follow, I'm sure. Everybody, welcome once again. I'm going to begin my review by looking at the things that we want to cover in grammar for today. So grammar is going to be the first of 3 sessions, okay, that we're going to cover. I'm going to try to do a live stream every day from today onwards. So I'll tell you when the next live stream will be at the end of today's session, okay? And I will also have some bonus activities that you can do during the remainder of the holidays, all right? So stay tuned for that at the end of the video. Stay till the end, and there'll be some fun stuff at the end as well. Okay, so back to grammar. These are the things that we are going to try to cover for the 3 sessions that we have for grammar, right? We're going to be looking at word types, word functions, tenses, and imperatives. Imperatives are a kind of tense. So imperatives and tenses will fit together, word types and word functions will fit together. And if you notice, the words in red are the areas that we are going to cover for today. We are going to be looking at word types in English, and then we're going to be looking at how these word types function in a sentence, all right? So we're going to be looking at the 3 most common functions of the 6 word types that I'm going to cover today. So yes, you heard correctly, 6 word types, not 5, right? Those of you who have been with me from primary 3 and primary 4, you'll know that your left hand is reserved for the 5 word types. But today I'm going to introduce you to or review with you a 6th word type. Now, before I begin, can those of you who were with me remember what are the 5 word types represented by your left hand? Thumb, index, middle, ring finger, and little finger, right? Go ahead and respond in the live chat window if you can remember what are some of these word types. Okay, go ahead. I'll give you a minute, all right, to type in the answers. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Yes, please go ahead and answer through the live chat. There's no need to wait for one another. Go ahead and type out the answers if you can. Remember the 5 word types. I know that there's a bit of a lag, so I'm giving you a little bit more time. Any of the 5 word types, remember the words that are represented on the fingers of your hand. Before we continue, I'd like to review it. So those of you who can remember, please go ahead and respond. I see quite a number of you online, so don't be shy. What are the types of words that you can remember? Don't need to wait for one another. Just go ahead and type in your answer in the live chat. Okay, very good. I see verb. Okay. So if I'm looking at my fingers, the index finger would be the verb form. Very good, right? So Sishan has given us verb, right? Okay, Jared has given us adverb. Very good. So adverb is the ring finger. Wonderful. Okay, adverb. Nouns. Nouns are your thumb. Wonderful, I'm seeing noun. Great. Okay, so I've got noun. I've got verb. I've got adverbs and adjectives. And the last one, very good. Thank you, Chun Hong. The last one, and Georgina, is the preposition. Okay, so nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and prepositions. Now today, we are going to be looking at a 6th type. Right, so I don't obviously have 6 fingers on my hand, so I won't be able to add that to my fingers, but remember that there's a 6th type called determiners, and we'll be looking at that, okay? So I think we're all kind of familiar with the main types, the 5 main types, but determiners will be a little new, so I will just go a little slower at that section later. All right, so now without further ado, let's go into a review of nouns again. All right, so word types, nouns, adjectives, prepositions, determiners, verbs, and adverbs are what we're going to cover today. All right, and as we go along, you'll notice that the sample sentences will contain some of your names. All right, so I've kind of included you in my lesson, some of you, and some of you will appear in the future lessons. All right, at any point in time, if you feel uncomfortable with Mr. Pang using your name, please let me know, and I will not do so in future. Okay, I've tried to be as humorous and respectful of your names as possible. Okay, so let's go. First of all, let's look at nouns. Okay, can anyone tell me in one word what a noun is? Very quickly in the live chat. Just write it out, shout it out, and then we'll move on. Anyone? Very quickly. Not quite, Xavier, not quite. These are examples, but I want, what is a noun? First and foremost, yes, a noun is a place, an animal, a thing. You're all correct, but these are examples. I want a definition. What is a noun, first and foremost? Very good, Jared, thank you. It's the name. It's the name of something, right? So nouns are names that we give to objects, places, people, and things, okay? Any kind of material or even feeling that we can attach a name to is a noun, all right? So very good, well done. Thank you, Jared and Ziting and Shaden and Reese and Georgina and Xavier and Jared, all right, thank you. So nouns are names of all these things and more, right? There are many, many names. There are many, many types of names, but we'll just focus on these 4 for today because the list is too long. And nouns are special in that they can take the singular and the plural form. All right, and this is very important because you'll be tested and you are going to be using a lot of this in your composition as well as in your paper 2, right? A lot of times they will test you on uncommon plural forms of nouns. All right, so for example, a common form would be boat and boats, where we add an S after a noun to indicate that there are more than one. However, when the noun ends with an S, an X, a CH, and Z or an SH, like wish, SH, we add an ES to indicate that it's plural. All right? And when the noun ends with a Y, we change the Y to an IES. We've learned all of this, right? So just a quick review. And there are some nouns that don't follow either the S, the ES, or the IES rule. And they are irregular plural nouns. And they take on different forms from the original. For example, child doesn't become childs, it becomes children. Okay? So be very careful whenever we see irregular nouns, we must always associate them with the singular form. Like children is associated with child, and children is plural. Okay? So that's a very quick review of singular and plural nouns. All right? Next, countable and uncountable nouns. Now, very simply, countable nouns are nouns that we can attach a number behind. So, for example, if I want to say 5 cars, that works. But I cannot attach a number to the back of an uncountable noun. For example, 5 tea. It doesn't work, right? So tea or 5, for example, 5 sugar, right? I need something else to be added in order to make it sensible. For example, I can't say 5 sugar or 5 tea, but I can say 5 bags of tea or 5 spoonfuls of sugar. So any noun that needs an additional describing word next to the number is an uncountable noun. All right? So for example, water is another one. Can I say 5 water or 5 waters? I can't, right? I have to say 5 cups of water. The cups are countable and the cups contain the water, which is uncountable. All right? So, very interesting. So Georgina is asking, Mr. Pang, why is people also persons? Very good. So in irregular word forms, very often, and let's go back to singular and plural, since Georgina asked this question, very often an irregular plural noun will have many different forms. So for example, I can say one person, many people. But I can also say one person, many persons. But which is more common and which is more commonly used in writing and speaking? Right? It's actually, right, Aditya asked the question, right? It's actually people, right? So in the past, to be polite, you would say persons. But now, it's no longer used very commonly and it's kind of fallen into disuse. So more people use the word people. So many people, not many persons. Many persons sounds rather old and archaic. Archaic means it's not used very often anymore, but it's not wrong. It's grammatically correct. Okay, so thank you for that question. Right, so back to countable and uncountable. Very quickly, everybody, can everyone please type in one example. So give me a pair, like what you see on the screen. One example of a countable next to an uncountable noun. Go ahead. And why don't you type it in right now? We'll just test whether you're able to understand the concept. So remember, a countable noun is something that can take a number. An uncountable noun requires an additional describing word like a cup, spoonful, right, strands of attached to the number in order to work. All right, so give me an example of a. Very good. Yeah, there you're right. So cup is countable, water is uncountable, right? I mentioned that earlier. Wonderful. Okay, Mr. Pang and sugar. Yes, Mr. Pang is rather sweet. Yes, but Mr. Pang is countable. There is one Mr. Pang in the world, and sugar is uncountable, right? Jug, okay, jug and water. Very good, Shaden, thank you. Lion and wind. That's very interesting. Wind, air. Right, so you cannot say one wind, two winds, right? But you can say a gust of wind. Very good, well done. Okay. Okay, books. Oh, Jen says, hello, welcome. Books, all right, so books are countable. Air is uncountable. Very good, well done. Okay, wonderful. Bottle and sand, great. Wolf and water, wonderful. Okay, looks like you guys get the idea, right? Books and sand, yeah, that's right, great. So you can't say 1 sand, 2 sand, 3 sand, but you can say 1 pile of sand, 2 piles of sand, 3 piles of sand, okay? You can't say 1 air, 2 air, 3 air, but you can say 1 breath of air, 2 breaths of air, 3 breaths of air, okay? So whenever I need an additional word to be attached, then that word is uncountable. But whenever I can attach the number directly to the word, then that word is countable. All right, so you get the idea. Very good, well done. Books and rice, that's right, good. But I can say grains of rice. So grains are countable, but rice is not. Wonderful. Okay, next is something that we're very familiar with. Countable and uncountable done, now proper and common. All right, so a proper noun is literally a specific or special name that we only give to an individual and object that is very special in its nature. Now, what do I mean by special? I mean like it is individual. It is not common. All right, so it's the opposite of common. would be a proper or a special noun. All right. So again, an example would be Hougang. Hougang is a special name because it refers to a specific location and not to a general area. Okay. If I just said neighborhood, then it could be any neighborhood. It could be Hougang, it could be Ang Mo Kio, it could be Pasir Ris, it could be Bukit Timah. All right. So neighborhood is a common noun. But if I zoomed in on this specific neighborhood called Hougang, then Hougang becomes a proper or special noun, and I capitalize all proper and special nouns. Now, besides names of places, which is like Hougang, Ang Mo Kio, Pasir Ris, or people like Mr. Pang and Jared and Reese and Shaden and Chun Hong, can you give me now in the live chat another example of a different type of special noun? I don't mean names. I don't mean places. I want other examples of special nouns. Why don't you go ahead and comment in the live chat now? Let's see if you can remember what are some of the other types of special or proper nouns. Okay, right, very good. Genesis, SPCA, that's an organization. It stands for Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, right? It's actually an acronym, right? An acronym are the first letters of each word in a longer string. So, Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is the name of an organization. Wonderful. LTA, very good. And LTA stands for Jachna? Okay, very good, John. Welcome, John. All right. So John is saying Philips. Philips is the brand name. Okay. Philips is the brand of a particular group of electronics appliance manufacturers. Wonderful. CTE. CTE is kind of like the acronym for an expressway. It's an object. Very good. Well done. So Central Expressway. Land Transport Authority. Wonderful. Sony, but remember to capitalize the S, okay? MRT, very good, Mass Rapid Transit, that's the name of a company, right? Jared has come up with KPE, right? Kranji Expressway, SLE, Seletar Expressway, all right, very good. I'm not sure, Jaden Teo, what you mean by old. Old is not actually, old is, yeah, right. Old is not actually a proper noun at all, okay? Wonderful. Singtel, that's great, okay? Sishan, Apple, be very careful with Apple, right? Because Apple could refer to the generic fruit, right? The fruit, which is a common noun, or it could refer to the company that produces computers, which is Apple Computer. So to be safe, often when I write Apple, I'll write Apple with a capital A and then I'll follow with the word computer, also with a capital C, so that I differentiate it from the common noun, which is Apple. Okay, very good. iPhones, very good. That's great. So we all kind of understand what are specific or proper nouns, right? Now, another thing that, and all of you are going into companies, Samsung, Apple, you know, that kind of stuff, right? No, Jaden Teo, pineapple is not a proper noun, all right? I'm assuming you're being serious. If you're not, please cut it out. Thank you, right? So another thing that you may not know, you may not come to your mind immediately is that months of the year and days of the week are also proper nouns. You realize that we do tend to capitalize Monday, all right, and January and February. Why? Because they are specific names for specific times of the year or specific times of the week, okay? So remember that proper nouns also contain time descriptors like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And you must be able to spell all the names of the months fully because you need this in your situational writing. Okay, great. No, year is not a pronoun, all right? A pronoun is a word that you substitute a noun with. So instead of Mr. Pang, he, right? He is the pronoun, all right? So a pronoun is a pronoun, meaning it supports or replaces a noun, all right? He, she, they, and we are pronouns, okay? Good question. All right. No, Jaden, people are not proper nouns. Okay? Proper nouns are specific people. So, people is a common noun. Steve Jobs, he is a proper noun, right? Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, he is a proper noun, right? Lee Kuan Yew, Steve Jobs, Lee Hsien Loong, all these famous people, they are all proper nouns. But if you refer to them as a group, they are people, then the word people is not a proper noun. It's a common noun, so we don't capitalize it. All right? Yeah. Okay, yes. Yes. No, years are not proper nouns. Okay, let's move on. Possessive. Okay, so this is quite an interesting. Yeah, that's right, Jared. Examples of pronouns. Anyway, we're not talking about pronouns anymore. Let's move on to possessives. Okay, so nouns can also take on the possessive form, right? So, for example, if I want to indicate that something belongs to Nikki, then I'll say Nikki's cat. All right, so Nikki's cat is on fire, but James's is not. Now, notice the difference between Nikki and James. Okay, Nikki ends with an E. So it's very straightforward. I simply put an apostrophe S to indicate that the cat belongs to Nikki. But if I have a name like James, and James ends with an S, then I add an apostrophe S after the S to indicate possession. All right? However, if it is a plural noun, for example, girls, all right? If it's the girls' cat, the cat belongs to the girls, then I do not put an apostrophe S. I put an apostrophe after the S. All right, so the girls, S apostrophe. All right, be very careful. When a name, one person's name, ends with an S, I add an apostrophe S. When I have a plural noun like girls that ends with an S, I do not add an apostrophe S. I add just an apostrophe to indicate that this item belongs to this group of people, the girls. Girls with an S and then an apostrophe. There is no additional S. All right? So please be very careful here. Yes, indeed. All right? Yes, indeed. Okay. So now let's move on. Before I do, very quick review. So nouns are names. They take singular and plural. Some of the plural forms are irregular. They can be countable or uncountable, depending on whether a number can be attached to them. They can be proper or common, and they can indicate belonging or possession, all right, by using the apostrophe S or the S apostrophe, right? So these are some characteristics of nouns, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, so now let's talk about adjectives, okay? Adjectives, remember, if we go by the term, the adjective is always connected to the noun. They are related because adjectives generally describe nouns. So what is Jancis? Jancis is thoughtful, right? Jancis is a thoughtful alien, okay? So thoughtful is the adjective that describes the noun Jancis, okay? So adjectives describe nouns. They are always and always associated with nouns. They describe feelings, they describe nationality or origin. So, for example, Anais heard a French song in a cafe. All right, Anais heard a French song in a cafe. French is nationality. All right. So, what kind of a song? A French song. So, tell me, in this example, and this is important because there are two nouns here, Anais and song. Does the word French give me information about Anais? Or does it give me information about the song? Comment below, please. Song, very good, well done. Great, wonderful, right? Yes, so be very careful. Adjectives can modify specific nouns, but they usually are attached to or come very close to the noun that they modify or describe, right? So if an adjective is very far away from the noun, you want to be looking for another noun closer to it because that's usually what it describes, okay? Let's move on. So earlier we talked about feelings or qualities, okay? Then we talked about nationality or origin, even the characteristics, okay? So Zixi writes a sporty motorcycle. All right, in this case, who is sporty? the motorcycle or 自己? Right? Again, look at which noun the word is closer to. In this case, the word sporty is very close to the noun motorcycle. So the proximity rule comes in here. The closer an adjective is to the noun, the more likely it is describing that noun it is closer to. So sporty motorcycle is basically what the word sporty is describing. Okay? So 自己 rides a motorcycle. Awesome. Alright? Very good. Well done, everybody. You've all identified the correct one. But if I said 自己 is sporty, alright, then that's a different story. 自己 becomes the one that sporty is describing because motorcycle is no longer in the sentence and 自己 is the only noun present. In which case, sporty has to describe 自己. 自己 is sporty. Alright? So sporty describes 自己. Alright? Yes. Alright. So let's move on to the next one. It also tells us about age, right? So for example, John is a young bear. Okay? So John is a young bear. What is John? John is a bear. What is the age of the bear? The bear is young. The bear's name is John. So John is a young bear. Alright, so young bear, old bear, right? Ancient bear. All of these are age words, age adjectives that can describe the noun. And in this case, of course, young describes John or the bear. Tell me. Alright, so this can be a bit confusing. It's a bit tricky. Does the word young, in this case, describe John or the bear? Interesting. Yes, yes. Very good. Interesting. Yes. Yep. Why is it? You're right. All of you are right. Okay? It's both. Why is it both? Because John is the bear, right? And if I'm describing the bear, I'm also describing John. So that's the very interesting thing about is, are, was, were. These are be verbs, right? That's very interesting. Later we'll study this more in verbs. But adjectives can describe two different nouns if the two nouns are related. Okay, so for example, John and the bear are related. They are linked by the linking verb is. John is a bear. John is a young bear. So John is young. John is a bear. The bear is young. So it's quite interesting when an adjective can actually now describe two different nouns when the two nouns are linked by a be verb. Is, are, was, were. So that's pretty interesting. Yes, very good. Well done, everybody. You guys are really solid and you're really attentive. Great. Okay. So they can tell us about the size and measurement. Nicole is a tall girl. Okay. Nicole is a short girl. Nicole is a small girl. Nicole is a fat girl. Right. So size and measurements are all part of adjectives. And in this case, again, the word tall can refer to Nicole and the girl. Alright? For those of you who need me to repeat, when I'm done with this video, I'll post it and you can repeat my telecast as often as you want to. Okay, so no worries about this. Alright? No worries about repeating. You can always review this after I'm done with this live stream. If you can't catch up and you're not taking notes fast enough, you can always refer back later. For now, focus on the lesson and ask me questions about what I'm currently covering. Okay? That'd be great. So, size. Tall refers to Nicole. Tall also refers to the girl because Nicole is the girl. Right? So it's a linking verb. Girl and Nicole are linked. Okay, next, color. So Reese, who is a superhero, wore a red cape. Okay? A red cape. Alright? What other adjectives of color are there? Countless, aren't there? Alright? What kind of cape? It can be brown, it can be orange, it can be yellowish blue, alright? So I can literally modify the color of Reese's cape simply by changing the adjective that describes it. Here. In this case, does red refer both to cape and Reese? Does red refer to cape or Reese or both? Yes. Yes. That's right. Wonderful. So in this case, there is no linking verb. Wore is not a linking verb, right? So is, are, was, were the linking verbs. So Reese wore a red cape. So in this case, there's no link. Reese is not the red cape. Okay, so the cape is red. All right, so red clearly refers to the cape. Wonderful, great stuff. Okay, of course, adjectives also tell us that something is made of a material. In this case, the table is wooden. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Also tells us about shape. So Princess Joyce sat at a round table. Okay, so the shape of the table is round. Now, can you remember what famous story involving kings and knights had a round table featured prominently in it? Anybody very well read can tell me the story that has a king, his knights seated around a round table. Anyone? 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 Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I see. Okay. I apologize, Genesis. It's only for this example, okay? Yeah, can I just read you the sentence? Okay, so Princess Joyce sat at a round table. Okay, I apologize that the camera. Yes, very good. Yes. Yep, that's right. Okay, yes, the thing, you're right. King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right? Okay, so it's the round table. And finally, express a judgment or value. I'm sorry if you can't see, it's kind of blocking. I know I apologize for that. Okay, so basically, adjectives can be used to express a judgment or value. So grammar is difficult, but useful. So difficult but useful, it's a judgment, right? It's difficult. I think it's difficult. So difficult is an adjective that describes grammar. Okay, so grammar is the noun, difficult is the adjective. So let me express all of them again. So feelings and qualities, nationalities and origins, characteristics, age, size, color, material, shape, and finally judgment or value. Okay, so these are some of the things that adjectives can do. Let's move on. Prepositions. Okay, now can anyone very quickly tell me what a preposition is? And again, notice that prepositions, the last pinky finger, are linked to nouns. Okay, so prepositions tell me what? What do prepositions tell me? Sorry about the noise, there's some kind of thermal fogging going on. Just started. Hope you can still hear me clearly. Right, so yes, very quickly. What is a preposition? Especially those of you who are from 4A, you should have remembered me repeating this again and again and again and linking my pinky finger with my thumb, right? A preposition links a noun, right? So what is it? It is the position. Very good, right? The position of an object. Yeah, that's right. Good. So I'm combining, right? I'm combining all of you. Yes, you're not wrong, Sushan. It does show you directionality. It shows you direction. Good. So basically, a preposition is a word that tells you the position or direction of a noun. Okay, so the position or direction of a noun that it refers to. Okay, so very quickly, all right, examples of prepositions are after, in, to, on, and with. And they're usually used in front of nouns or pronouns to show the relationship between the noun and the other words in a sentence. What relationship? They describe, for example, the position, right? So Don's bazooka was under the chair. All right, yes, very good. Across, between, yeah, very good. All right, so good, you guys have an idea. So where is Don's bazooka? Under the chair, right? It's under the chair. Where else can Don's bazooka be? It could be above the cupboard. It could be between the chairs. It could be by the door. It could be leaning against the wall. Okay? Yep. All right. Yeah, bazooka is kind of like, a rocket launcher. Okay? So a position of something is a preposition, right? So prepositions tell you the position of something. In this case, the position of the bazooka. Whose bazooka is it? Don's bazooka. Remember apostrophe S? Belonging, right? So Don's bazooka was under the chair. Okay, Don's bazooka was under the chair, on the bed. Very good, well done. By the door, right? Against the window, between the chairs. All right, so these are all examples of positions, okay? It can also refer to time. All right, so prepositions can tell you a direction in time as well. Okay, so for example, the karate class Megan Kwek is attending starts at 9 a.m. Okay, so let's assume that Megan is attending karate class. All right, so what time does Megan's lesson start? It starts at 9 a.m. So the word at is a preposition of time. It tells me when the karate class that Megan Kwek is attending begins at 9 a.m. Okay, across is also a preposition. Yes, good. Right, next, the way in which something is done is also a preposition. So, how did Sixuan win the contest? Sixuan won the contest by eating 100 hot dogs. Okay, how did she do it? The way in which it was done, by eating 100 hot dogs. So she won by doing this. The word by functions as a preposition of manner, the way in which something is done. There are, of course, many other types of prepositions, but these are generally some of the more common ones, okay? So that's prepositions. One more time, right? Let's go to the beginning. So it describes position, it describes time, it describes manner or ways in which a thing is done. It also describes accompaniment, right? With, for example. So remember we were studying Heartbeats in the Dark, and Bess left the attic with the light. So she took the light with her. The light accompanied Bess down the stairs and into the house, leaving poor Darren in utter darkness. Okay, so if you remember the story, you know the reference. Okay, very good. Well done. Okay, great. All right, can you all please try not to make comments that are offensive or irrelevant, or I will remove your comments, okay? I've been doing it quite a lot for Reese. So Reese, please watch yourself while you're responding, okay? Try to keep your answers relevant and try to keep them, balanced and non-offensive, all right? Otherwise, I will have to remove you from the live chat, okay? This is the last warning. All right, let's move on. Determiners, right? So determiners are also attached to nouns, and this is the new class that we've not covered before. This is the last one, okay? So remember we had 5, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and prepositions. And the 6th one is determiners, okay? And determiners are also attached to nouns. So you see how important your term is, right? Nouns are really super important. Many of the types of words attach themselves to nouns. Verbs are, of course, the second most important type of word, but nouns are super important, okay? So determiners tell you a number of things about the noun, all right? They tell you a number of things about the noun. Right, what do determiners mean? Very good question, Jensis. Right, so determiners determine or give you information about the noun. More information specific to the noun. So it's kind of like an adjective in that it gives you more information, but it doesn't describe the noun. It gives you more specific information, right? For example, the. The is a determiner, right? The tells you that the noun has appeared once before in a previous sentence, right? If the noun is appearing for the very first time, we don't use the word the, right? What do we use? Anyone? If a noun is appearing for the first time, I don't say the elephant, right? I don't say the elephant. What do I say? Anyone? Answer, live chat. The elephant? No, because this elephant is appearing for the first time in my sentence. I don't use the word the, because the is used when the elephant appears multiple times. Are you very sure, Shaden? Are you sure it's a elephant? Are you sure it's a elephant? An elephant. That's right, okay? Why is it a and not an? And this is an indefinite article, meaning it accompanies a noun that appears for the first time. Okay? You cannot say a elephant. Why not? Why must it be an elephant? It cannot be a elephant. What is the rule that governs when you use a or an? This is very interesting. I am seeing some of you not being very sure about this. Okay? Anyone can tell me the rule in the live chat that determines which article or which determiner I use, or an, when the elephant appears for the first time. Which article should I use, or an, and why? An is the correct answer, right? Yes, very good. So an is always attached to a noun that begins with a vowel sound. Okay? So a noun which begins with a vowel sound. Very good. Wonderful, Genesis, right? So vowel sounds a, e, o, u. Right? A for A, e for E for I, o for O, and u for U. A, E, I, O, U, but not the letters, the sounds. Okay? The sounds. A, e, o, u. Alright? So do not just look at the letter, listen to the sound. Very good example, Georgina. Hour. H-O-U-R. The letter H is not a vowel, but the sound of the word is hour, right? An hour. So the hour, So sound, an hour. Give you another example. University. University begins with the letter U, right? But the sound of the word is not university. It's university. It's actually a Y, right? Y-O-O, university. So the letter sound Y, is not a vowel sound. Therefore, you don't say an university, you say a university. It's the sound of the vowel and not the vowel itself. So university begins with the letter U, but sounds like the letter Y. Y-O-O, university. Therefore, a university. Alright? Hour, H-O-U-R, begins with the consonant H, but it's not pronounced as hour, it's pronounced as hour. The A sound, the vowel A sound, and hour. Therefore, begins with an hour. Alright? That was quite a mouthful. So again, definite article the tells you that the noun is appearing for the second or third or fourth time. Or an, depending on whether there's a vowel sound starting the noun, tells you that it's entering your sentence for the first time. An elephant appeared, the elephant ran wild. An elephant appeared, first time it appeared. The elephant, second time I'm referring to it, the elephant went wild. Okay? So remember this, very important. When you're writing your composition, determiners tell you when your subject or noun appears for the first or second or third time. It's very important to use them correctly. That's why determiners tell you very specific information about the noun. In this case, when it appears. Next, demonstratives are also a part of determiners. So this, that, these, those. Okay, these words tell you, right, that something is in a particular location relative to where you are. So for example, if I want to say this durian, notice where I'm pointing. Alright? Alright, so sorry, I just saw your question. Articles all of these are all determinants. Okay, so an, and the, they're all determinants. Okay, so just think of them as determinants. Don't worry about the article word. Let's not use the word article. We'll all just talk about determinants. The next one I'm talking about now is demonstratives. Okay, so this, that, these, and those. All of this refers to the position of the object in relation to you. So if I say this durian, right, I am pointing at something that is relatively close to me, and it's singular in number. This durian. If I'm referring to a durian on the tree, then I will point over there and refer to it as that durian. Okay, so this is another type of determiner. This tells me it's near to me and it's singular. That tells me that it's further away from me and it's also singular. These durians tells me that something is near to me and the number is greater than 1. These durians. Those durians refers to again, something that's further away from me and more than one in number. Those durians, okay? So that's a type of demonstrative. All right. Very good. Well done. You guys get the idea. Okay? So, demonstratives, pronouns and possessive determiners. Right? So, basically, pronouns can sometimes function as determiners. So, my, your, his, her, its, our, their. This tells me something belongs to me. So, my durian, your durian, his durian, her durian, its durian, our durian, their durian. Alright, so all these pronouns actually function as determiners that come before the noun to tell you who the noun belongs to. So instead of saying, what was it earlier? Whose cat was on fire? Right, somebody, let's say, whose cat was on fire? Can you all remember? I can't quite remember. Whose cat was on fire? All right, that's right, Nikki. Right, so thank you. Right, so Nikki's cat was on fire. Instead of saying Nikki's cat was on fire, I can substitute Nikki and the apostrophe S for her cat was on fire, right? So Nikki's cat was on fire, her cat was on fire. Her, in this case, functions as a determiner that tells me that the cat belongs to her. Alright, so it could also function as a determiner. Quantifiers, right, this is something that we're very familiar with. All of these words also function as determiners, right? So a few cats, a little sugar, many durians, a lot of students, some people, anybody, enough people. Alright, so these are all words that tell you the quantity of the noun. It tells you the number of the noun. So instead of saying 5 people, I can say a few people. Instead of saying 6 grams of sugar, I can say a little sugar in the recipe. All right. So these are also examples of determiners. All right. Okay, wonderful. All right. Numbers are also determiners, like I mentioned. Okay. So these are also. This is not really important, so I'm going to skip that. So generally speaking, determiners, right, are articles, right? An, and the. These are determiners. This, that, these, and those. These are also determiners. My, your, his, her, its, our, their. These are all determiners because they are attached to the noun, right? So you notice that all of these words come before a noun. So the elephant, an elephant, this elephant, my elephant, a few elephants, one elephant, all the elephants. These are all determiners because they come before a noun and they tell you something very specific about that noun. All right, so remember determiners as the 6-word class or word type. Okay? Yes, you can have many students or a lot of students, Jancis, sorry. These determiners can be used interchangeably depending on how you want to express yourself. So instead of saying many, 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 all of the time in your composition, you can actually make it more interesting and varied by using many, a lot of, quite a few, dozens of. All of these are alternative determiners that can add variety and interest to an otherwise very boring composition. If I keep using many, 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 many students, many boys, many students, many of them, many, many, can be very boring, right? So many, a lot of, dozens of, quite a number, a huge amount of. So these are some alternative determiners you can use to convey the idea of a large number. Okay, so that's a good question, Jancis. Thank you for that. Okay, good. So we're done with determiners. And time is really running out. Yes. Okay, yes. Thank you. All right. Oh dear. All right. Jared, that is an apostrophe indeed. Okay, an apostrophe S. Okay, that denotes belonging. Okay, apostrophe S. All right, so now we move on to one of our favorite word classes, which is verbs. And verbs are very, very important. Remember what Mr. Pang said about verbs? They are the what of a sentence. Anyone? Those of you, especially from previous year, I have said this quite a number of times. The verb is a what. Is a what of the sentence? Anyone can remember? Anyone can remember? The verb is what? Is the what of a sentence? No, Reese. It's not the star. No. The verb is the what of a sentence. Every sentence must have at least one verb. So the verb is the what of the sentence? The, the, what is it? Anyone? No. I'm not asking you what a verb is. I'm saying the verb is the what of a sentence. I've mentioned this quite a lot. The verb is the, no, not a gatekeeper, Xavier. You're guessing. Reese was guessing as well. Okay. The what of the sentence? What is it? Look at my fingers. Look at my fingers. The verb is the what of the sentence? Yes, the verb is the heart of the sentence, right? Yes. Can you remember me saying this, right? I said this quite a number of times, remember? You can't take the heart out of something because that thing would immediately collapse and die. So the verb is the heart of a sentence, right? It literally is the beating heart that keeps the sentence alive. You cannot remove the verb from a sentence. That sentence will die. All right, so the verb is the heart of the sentence. It refers to actions, preferences, or states of being. Okay, so for example, if you look at some examples over here, right? Madhu finished the gigantic pizza all by herself. So finished, right, is a verb. Okay, Xavier loves to dance all night. Okay, loves is a verb. It's a kind of like a feeling, right? And Jasith is the most cheerful boy in class. Is a state of being. Jasith is. And remember earlier we were saying is functions as a linking verb, right? So in this case, when I'm talking about cheerful, the adjective cheerful is describing who? Anyone? Who is cheerful describing? Yes, that's right. Okay, the boy and Jasith. That's right. Okay, good. So remember, whenever I have is, are, was, or were, the subject is linked to the other noun in the sentence, right? So in this case, boy is another word that refers to Jasith because of the linking verb is, are, was, or were. And therefore, cheerful refers both to Jasith as well as to the boy. So this is a wonderful sentence because I have one word, cheerful, applying itself to two different nouns. So it's a very effective sentence, right? It describes two things at once. Two birds, one stone. Okay, so nice. I like linking verbs. They're quite effective. Okay, so linking verbs are also verbs, all right? And you will realize very quickly from the previous sentences, like finished, loves, is, that verbs carry the tense of a sentence. Yes, that's right. Good. So Jasith is the boy. So verbs carry the tense. In this case, Madhumita finished, right, the gigantic pizza all by herself. Finished. What tense is finished in? Anyone? Everyone? Quickly type it in. Fastest fingers first. Let's see who comes first. Finished. Past. Wonderful, Jared. Well done. Anybody disagrees with Jared? Past. Yes, Jancis. Good. Yep, the past tense. Good. Good. All right. Great. Great. Everybody says it's past. Yes, very good. All right. Later we'll go into tenses, but I guess I can give you an MCQ right now. Is finished simple past, past continuous, or past perfect? Is it simple, continuous, or perfect? Is finished simple past, past continuous, or past perfect? Let's see. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, great. Mm, 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 mm. Good job, everyone. All right, you're all correct, of course. Finished is simple past. Now, change finished to past continuous. John, wrong. Xavier, wrong. Jancis, wrong. Chun Hong, correct. Alright, so yes, Joyce, that's right. Is finishing is present continuous. Remember, you cannot change the tense unless I tell you to, and I did say past continuous. Was finishing. That's right, was finishing. Was finishing. Why is it was finishing and not were finishing? So listen to my question very carefully. It's past continuous, right? Was finishing. Why is it was finishing and not were finishing? Why is it was finishing and not were finishing? Yes, thank you. Were is plural form and Madhumita is singular, right? There's only one of Madhu. Yes, therefore, one puts S after the verb. And in this case, the verb is was. Madhu was finishing the gigantic pizza all by herself. Madhu was finishing the gigantic pizza all by herself. That's great. Alright, I love your participation. You guys are great. Thank you very much. Next, please tell me how you change finished, which is simple past, into past perfect. How do I change finished into past perfect? Be careful. Nope, John. That's present perfect. Again, same mistake as earlier, John. Be very careful with your tenses, right? You have a tendency to give present when it should be past. Past perfect. Be very careful. Chun Hong, nope, that's present perfect. Jared, nope. Ziting, nope. Right, that's right, Jared. That's right, Chun Hong. Had finished. Xavier, had finished. Very good. Had is in the past. Has is in the present. So this tells me that you guys are still not fully confident about your tenses, which is why I'm going to be covering a separate lesson on tenses the next time we have a live stream, okay? So you're still a little shaky on your tenses. When I say past, you should immediately be thinking of the past form. In this case, had finished. Had finished. Not has. Has is present. Has and have, they're present. Had is past. So be very careful in this case, alright? Yes. Alright, good. So let's also look at the carrying of the tense. And it also refers the number, alright? So it reflects the number of subjects in a sentence, okay? So that's what we were just doing, right? We were doing subject, verb, agreement, rule, okay? So Jaysha flies to school every day. One Jaysha, therefore, puts S after the verb. Jaysha flies to school every day, okay? Jared and Josiah, in this case, both of them are the subject, therefore more than one. Jared and Josiah fly. So notice the verb fly now carries the number. Many, no S after the verb. Fly to school every day. Okay? So Jaysha, singular, flies. Jared and Josiah, plural, fly. So the verb carries the tense and it also carries the number in a sentence. So looking at the verb can tell me how many subjects there are. And be very careful, it's always subjects. Okay? Only the subject agrees with the verb, not the object, which we'll look at later. Okay? Very good. Okay, so now Notice in the third point, exception to the rule, gangsters of grammar. Can anyone very quickly tell me who is the exception or who are the exceptions to the rule? There are two pronouns that do not follow the subject-verb agreement rule. Okay? Very good, Chun Hong. Immediately, you and I. So if I used you or I used I in place of Jasia, yeah, very good, Jensis and John. Exactly, and Joyce as well. Good job. Okay, you guys got it. So you and I, if I substitute you and I into, thank you, Georgina. If I put you and I into the place that Jasia is currently occupying, I will have you flies to school. Does that work? No. You fly to school. So even though you is one, it doesn't obey the subject-verb agreement rule. So you fly. I also doesn't obey the rule. You cannot say I flies to school. I fly to school. So be very careful whenever you see the pronouns you and I being used in a sentence or in grammar MCQ or in any setting. Be very careful that the verb that comes after it does not follow the subject-verb agreement rule. Okay, so just remember this. All right, I and you are special cases. That's right. Okay, so it will take on the plural form. Exactly. Well done, everybody, and thanks for reinforcing what I've just said. Good. So that's very basically verbs. Okay, and now adverbs. One of my favorite classes of words because it gives us a lot of fun ways to describe our verbs and our actions. Okay, and adverbs play a very big role in making your writing more interesting. Okay, so attaching adverbs or adverbial phrases to the ends or the beginnings of your verbs can color them very effectively and make them more interesting. Okay, so for example, right, Daya moved slowly. Daya moved. How did he move? He moved slowly. So the word slowly describes the action of moving. It does not describe Daya. Right? So be very careful. Adverbs do not describe nouns. They describe verbs. All right? And other adjectives and other adverbs, but that will come later. Okay? Megan ate speedily. So how did she eat? She ate speedily. How did he move? He moved slowly. Okay? Yep. Adverbs primarily tell you more about how a verb is carried out or how an action is carried out. Okay? Secondarily, they also can describe adjectives. So while adverbs don't directly describe a noun, they do describe adjectives, and adjectives describe nouns. So indirectly, adverbs do interact with nouns as well, but through adjectives. So for example, Mr. Pang looks absolutely fabulous. So Mr. Pang looks fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So the word absolutely tells me even more about how fabulous Mr. Pang looks. Okay, so absolutely fabulous. All right, so that's one way of describing an adjective. Okay, so not many people know this, but adverbs are very powerful when used with adjectives as well. Okay, Georgina is extremely skinny. So not only is Georgina skinny, she's extremely skinny. So in this case, extremely is telling me the degree to which Georgina is skinny and the degree to which Mr. Pang is fabulous. Okay, so the degree is controlled by using adverbs, right? So very, extremely, right? These are some adverbs that commonly modify adjectives. Okay, so very happy, extremely sad, right? All these are some examples of adverbs you can add to make your adjectives even more effective, even more powerful. All right, so you can Google online. They'll list you literally thousands of adverbs that modify adjectives. Okay, so that's another function of adverbs. Okay, and sometimes adverbs can also modify other adverbs. Okay, this is less common. All right, but I'm sure you can see it's still used quite a lot. So Ashton plays the piano extremely well. All right, so the word well is actually an adverb. Okay, so plays the piano well. Well describes how Ashton plays the piano. Extremely well describes how well he plays. So adverb modifying adverb, and the adverb which modifies the verb, plays the piano. Okay? So again, very quietly, Brandon is speaking very quietly, Brandon is speaking very quietly, right? In this case, quietly can refer to how Brandon is speaking. Very quietly refers to how quietly he's speaking. Okay? So they change the degree to which the adverb is strong or weak. Okay? Or Brandon is speaking slightly louder. So I can adjust the degree by using the word slightly instead of very. Okay? Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. Reese is asking the word utterly. Yes, utterly is also an adverb that can modify other adverbs. Yes. So he plays the piano utterly beautifully. Okay, extremely. So utterly and extremely, they are very similar. All right, Reese. So you could use them interchangeably in some cases. All right. So utterly, I would say, is kind of a little bit stronger than extremely. Okay, so if I had a scale of how strong an adverb is, extremely would be maybe a 9, and utterly would be maybe a 10. Okay, so they are very similar, but utterly is slightly stronger than extremely. Really is also a good one, but really would be a little bit weaker. So Ashton plays the piano really well, really well. Extremely well, well, even better. And utterly beautifully, that's like the highest level. Okay? Yeah, so you can actually use different adverbs to modify how strong your verb, adjective, or adverb is. All right, so adverbs are really fun. They can be added to a lot of different words to kind of strengthen them or weaken them according to how you would like to describe. Oh dear, where is the time? All right, I'm going to stop here today. Okay, I actually wanted to talk about word functions, but it's already almost been an hour, so I'm going to stop here. I promise that this will be less than an hour. Very quickly, all right, I'm not going to cover this. Just wanted to recommend, all right, 2 activities that some of you might be interested in attending, all right. And again, remember, at the end of this video, I'll be recording this video and putting it on Edmodo by the end of today, after I've edited out the earlier sections of Waiting for Everyone, and you'll be able to access all of my teachings and slow it down, speed it up, go through it again to your convenience, okay? And you can take some notes while you're at it. But very quickly to end off today, there are 2 things that came to my attention that could be quite fun for you all to attend, right? If you have time, starting actually, today is the 20th, starting today, right, there is a Singapore Literature exhibition at Toa Payoh HDB Hub Atrium, right? So your parents will know where that is. It starts 11, it ends 8 p.m. tonight and tomorrow, all the way until Sunday. And basically, they are showcasing some very interesting books written by our local authors. So if you are interested in local writing and you want to support our local writers, there's a very nice selection and beautiful stationery and postcards and illustrations that they're selling there as well. So HDB Hub Atrium, today all the way until Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Please go ahead and check it out. They sell local books. Some of the local authors are even there to sign your books for you and give you an autograph, right? No, Shaden, there's no need to hand up anything. The papers can be done at your own convenience, the practice papers. I'll talk about that later, but back to holiday activities. So the Singlit exhibition is in Toa Payoh HDB Hub, all right? Then there's another one organized by Singapore Young Writers Lab, which is an eco-poetry course, right? Those of you who love to write poetry or you want to meet poets or writers who write poetry about how to save the earth, save the planet, you might be interested in Introduction to Eco-Poetry, which is written by the Singapore or organized by the Singapore Young Writers Lab. Very good course. If you're interested in poetry, if that's your thing, go for it. If you want more details, you can message me privately. I'll send you a link on how to sign up for this course. It's a one-day course and it's for children, right? So it's targeted at children who love to read and write poetry, specifically poetry that wants to raise awareness about climate change and saving the earth, right? And not wasting resources and overusing plastic and stuff like that. So 2 things that y'all can get into that can help increase and enrich your English. One is the Singapore Literature exhibition and festival that's at Toa Payoh Hub. Okay. 2 is the Singapore Young Writers Lab Eco Poetry course. That's quite cool, and you write short poetries and they teach you how to actually use poetry to express yourself better. So these 2 are happening during the March holidays. I strongly recommend you check them out if you're interested in Singapore literature or in eco-poetry, okay, or green poetry. I'm ending the session now officially, right? But I'll be online for a few more minutes to take any questions that you all may have, okay? Right, yes, finally, for those of you who have been checking on Edmodo, you will realize that I posted 4 2018 practice papers, CA1, right? If I remember correctly, there are 4 practice papers from different schools that you can use to kind of gauge how long it would take to finish a paper 2 from beginning to end. Those of you who have been attending my afternoon classes, you've already done booklet A and booklet B, so you have a rough idea about the whole flow. But for those of you who would like more practice, I posted these 4 additional papers together with an answer key for each paper. You can download it off Edmodo, you can practice it, and you can mark it yourself. There's no need for you to do it and hand it up to me, but if you have any questions after you've done the paper, you're not sure whether your answer is acceptable as compared to the answer key, you're welcome to take a screenshot, send it to me, message me, and I'll reply to you to explain to you if your answer is acceptable, why or why not, because that explanation is really important, right? In comprehension, we have to be very precise in the way we answer. And again, one of my future live stream sessions will deal with answering comprehension questions more effectively, okay? Right, that's it for today. Thank you all very much. And until the next time, I will see you. I would like to do another live stream sometime tomorrow, but it won't be in the morning because I need to edit this live stream and I need to post it and I need to prepare for the next live stream. So probably sometime tomorrow evening, I will do another short session to finish up the second part of grammar and then to probably introduce you to some resources that you can do for grammar as well. All right, so today's resources were practice papers as well as some revision on grammar. Tomorrow's resources will be ending the grammar review. I may need one more session, but I'll try to end it by tomorrow and give you some grammar practices as well. All right? Okay. Yes, I will try to schedule a live session tomorrow, Jensis. All right? And I will post the exact time of that session sometime tomorrow. Okay? And again, for those of you who are not able to watch the entire session, or you have to go for classes, or you've got something on in that time, you can always tune in to Edmodo or my channel where I will post the recording. Of course, I'll edit it so that it's not so long, shorten it and make it a bit tighter. You can review the recording, you can listen through it a couple of times just to revise the concepts, because I realize I'm going quite fast and some of you may not be able to follow me all the way through. Right? It's quite intensive. But I thank you once again for your attention and your participation. I love the fact that as we were going through, you guys were really responding and giving me answers and asking questions, and by and large, I would say 95% of the time you were all focused on task, you were asking relevant questions and making very, very good comments, so that's wonderful. That shows me you're engaged and you're focused. That's great.